Welcome to the Past Present Paranormal Radio Show on Spreaker.com.
Good afternoon and good evening to everyone listening to the Past Present Paranormal Radio program. As usual, my name is Larry and I am your host here on the show. And we are broadcasting live from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm the founder of Past Present Paranormal, a research group based in Las Vegas, boasting 15 members. With years of experience under our belts, and many more years if you combine every member of the group. Tonight, we'd like to take the time out to talk to you a little bit about Tonopah, Nevada. It's a location we just got back from. It's not our first trip to there, and it certainly won't be our last. Just wanted to take the time out to thank those locations, explain some of the experiences we had while up there, and reference you over to our webpage where you can check that out and see some of the stuff as we place it up there. If you're interested, our website is www.pastpresentparanormal.com. We were scheduled to go to a little town called Austin, Nevada, and unfortunately our plans had to change due to some basically logistical changes that happened up there. And on a whim, we decided to head up to Tonopah, some of our older locations that we've investigated before we became Past Present Paranormal, and hit those locations up again and see if we could establish some new connections, if you will, with some new friends and bring our group on board up there with them, and we had that opportunity. And let me tell you, we were not disappointed with what we did, and we had the opportunity to stay at the beautiful Mizpah Hotel. If you haven't had a chance to get up there yet, make sure you do. It is a totally renovated, turn-of-the-century hotel that is just absolutely beautiful. The craftsmanship itself is gorgeous, and the history and some of the stories you'll hear about the Mizpah Hotel are second to none. And it just seems that everyone and their brother has had a paranormal experience of some sort while either working or staying at the Mizpah Hotel. And we were no different. We had some experiences, although we didn't have the hotel to ourselves. There were other guests that were there, and we had to act accordingly and kind of be quiet. Yeah, we did get those experiences, and it was absolutely fantastic. So we thank them a great deal for allowing us to, walk around with cameras and give us access to rooms that we didn't pay for. They were kind enough to open up the rooms to where the lady in red was allegedly murdered, stabbed to death, and some other areas that are just amazing. We heard voices. One of the greatest experiences we had, however, when we were up there was while standing in our room up on I believe it was the third floor. We had the opportunity to just be standing in our room, and everyone was just talking, having a good time, and I started hearing noise, and I happened to look up, and the television was on. Well, the funny thing is, no one had turned the television on. The remote was still sitting on the dresser beneath it. And it's not one of the newer televisions that use an RF frequency or radio frequency for turning on and off. It was a television that is old enough that it still uses the IR or infrared frequencies to turn on and off, and it must be in direct line of sight So, upon noticing this, we turned our directions and our attention towards the television, and we noticed that it was in fact on. And it just so happened to be on a channel that was talking about death and murder. So we decided to change the channel, and we did. And then what we did from there was quite simply ask for whoever turned it on to turn it off. And pretty much on command, the television turned itself off. If that wasn't good enough for us, we asked for it to happen again. And I asked for it, whether it be a spirit or whatever it was, to wait as I turned on my video recording equipment. It in fact did wait, and we caught it with 2 different cameras. The television came on command again. Not only did it come on, but it came on to the channel that we had previously changed, where it was still talking about death and murder. Over the course of just a few moments, it had the opportunity to turn itself on and off 4 different times. The hotel itself has a sordid past, and I'm not going to bore you with details about the history and the fires and everything. It's switched hands and fallen into disrepair several times. There was a case where some gentlemen thought it'd be a good idea to dig into the vault from the bottom up and try to rob the place. Well, someone else caught wind of this plan, and they let them do all the work. But once upon they came to the vault, they were summarily murdered and the money taken. That vault is still there, fully reconditioned and refurbished, and it is beautiful. The inner workings are uncovered or covered in plexiglass, if you will, so that you may see them. They're intricate and golden and silver, with brushed finishes and polished finishes, and the feeling is just unreal. You can also feel as if someone is standing next to you or walking beside you. While standing still on several occasions, I actually felt the floor move like someone was walking right next to me. Bear in mind, it wasn't a true investigation where it was dark, so we could see everything that was going on. In fact, there was no one there to walk past me. It was just myself. No one else was walking around the room or on the floor next to me. So that in and of itself was an amazing experience as well. We also heard voices. We didn't see too much per se, and the other thing we did the first evening we were there was to place in the room an EMF detector that actually sounds off when there's a higher reading of EMF. And right next to it, we placed a digital voice recorder. We let it run for 5 hours. This was on our bed in the room. And for the first hour or so, absolutely nothing happened. And then for 20 minutes straight, the EMF went through the roof. And this device is set up where the higher the EMF, the faster the clicks will come and the beeps will come. And it ran for 20 minutes and stopped. Also in the room we had set up what some people refer to a trap camera, but where I'm from it's called a game or a trail camera, where we put it in the woods and we scout potential hunting spots. In a room where no one was in it, this was triggered over 20 different times. just a fantastic experience at the beautiful Mizpah Hotel. Once again, if you get the opportunity, it's quite an affordable hotel, and located centrally. It's about 4 hours from downtown Las Vegas, and it offers just so much for everyone to do. The restaurant is good. We didn't drink, but they have a beautiful bar. They have a higher-end steakhouse as well. The staff is friendly. And like I said, they gave us access to rooms that we didn't have access to before. There were reports of the lady in red placing her hand upon a fully made bed in her room, where the sheets and the duvet cover were pulled tight, and all that remained after someone would look at it would be a handprint. And they would straighten it out and flatten it out again, and that handprint would come back. People watching you, people talking to you when no one's there. And that seemed to be the theme for everybody who worked in that location. Nothing malicious, nothing malevolent. So overall, a great experience for everyone in the group. If you watch any of the television programs, you'll know that other people have caught some sensational evidence. We did not have that experience there. But we did have experiences. Needless to say, we hope to get back. And once again, we thank the Mizpah Hotel for their hospitality. While we were there, we also had the opportunity to go ahead and take a walkthrough of the Central Nevada Museum. If you haven't been to Tonopah, first of all, if you're living in Las Vegas, why not? That's my first question. If you're a paranormal investigator, I also ask, why not? This town is steeped in history, and it's also steeped in grief, with many, many deaths, most of them untimely, due to the mining and some sickness and other things like that. So it's paranormally active pretty much wherever you walk in town. Everyone's got a story, and they're not afraid to share it with you. No one's embarrassed by it. It's not like some of the other places that we all experience where it seems to be hush-hush because, we don't want to talk about ghosts. People think we're weird. Well, we're not weird there. They look at us as people that can possibly bring some validation to their stories. Although we have never read anything or heard anything about the Central Nevada Museum being haunted, if you will, what we did want to do is walk through, because the first thing is it's completely free to the public. The second thing is they hold archives and they hold mementos from the years and years of Tonopah just being in existence. And I've talked before on this show about how Tonopah was formed and all that stuff. There's history beyond compare in Tonopah. So we had the opportunity to meet up with some folks that run the Central Nevada Museum. And they were so gracious, and they asked us to come back that evening to do a walkthrough on the outside of their location, where there are in fact many minor, what they call shacks, some dome houses, places where the miners actually lived and shopped, and some were reconstructions with some original artifacts such as bottles and cans and how they lived, beds and whatnot, and some were actual original shacks that were moved to the location. So we walked around that location for quite a bit on the outside with one of the young ladies who runs the museum during the day. And I'll screw up her name on purpose because I called her the wrong name the entire evening. So Abigail, whatever your name is, I appreciate it greatly. So on the outside, because of some of the noise contamination and everything, we didn't get much going on, but it was an experience nonetheless. And then Michelle had the opportunity to sit in what they called the Dome House, or not to sound racist, but this is what they referred to as the Chinaman's hut. And basically, it was like a big metal can that they lived in. While down there, we used the old-fashioned flashlight trick, and she got some interaction with that. And we also potentially may have caught an EVP or two, which is really neat. There were some intermittent hits on the millimeter when it was in K2 mode, which is pretty neat as well. And we worked that area for a little bit. Then the Central Nevada Museum was nice enough to open its doors to us. And initially this wasn't going to happen, so we weren't prepared for a full-scale investigation, but thankfully we had all of our equipment with us. We were able to walk around the location and take some readings, and it was all pretty normal. And then the young lady we were with said that she always felt this feeling of being watched or being followed when she was in the back of the museum. So we followed her back there. And while back there, you could certainly tell that the EMF readings were high with our equipment, mind you. And it truly was through the roof. And then it kind of just stopped when you crossed the threshold to this one room. And throughout this entire room, there was nothing but catalogs of items and beautiful antiques and museum quality pieces throughout. Located on one end where we were just standing and watching was a beautiful saddle. It was sitting on top of a sawhorse. And without being touched, the saddle was flipped over onto the ground. I'd like you to bear in mind that this saddle probably weighed a good 70, 75, maybe even 80 pounds. We tried to recreate it, and we just couldn't. The K2 readings in that room were off the charts, while the EMF dropped. And it was very intermittent. While walking through that catalog area, I did notice that there was an entire section dedicated to a mortuary. One can only tell or know how much is connected to the items that are located throughout the Central Nevada Museum. If you guys get the opportunity to, please go to their website, check them out at www.tonopahnevada.com/Central Nevada Museum. And for those who don't know, Tonopah is T as in Tom, O, N as in Nancy, O, P as in Paul, A, H. And the hospitality up there from these folks was absolutely amazing. They're opened every Tuesday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. and closed Sunday, Monday, and all holidays. And they offer just a wealth of knowledge and history. And they have a little gift shop where you can purchase books about the ghosts and the spirits of Tonopah and Central Nevada and Goldfield, which we all know is one of the most haunted locations in, I would say, maybe even the world. So if you get the opportunity to get out there, please, by all means, get yourself out there and check them out. Take a look, see what they have to offer you, and let them know that Past Present Paranormal sent them out. Now, I do want to inform you that we are a not-for-profit. We will never charge for our investigations. We are on Facebook under Past Present Paranormal, and we are also on the internet with www.pastpresentparanormal.com. And you can reach us either of those ways. Plus, we have a phone number listed on our website if you have any questions or concerns when it relates to the paranormal. And you can call us and you're guaranteed someone will answer. If we don't answer, leave us a message. We'll call you back immediately for all your investigative needs. We'll come out, give you a professional and confidential investigation at any time. Our books are filling up for this fall. Looks like it's going to be packed, and we're quite excited about that. And if you have any questions, you can also call me at 702-845-6650 or at pastpresentparanormal@gmail.com. So our second night there, we had the opportunity to go up to the historic mining park in Tonopah. And that's also www.tonopahnevada.com/Tonopah Mining Park. And this place, wow, is all I can say. It's sprawled out over I don't know how many acres, but you can see it from, I believe it's 93, either 93, 95, and it was a once powerful and rich mine in silver ore. And you can see the beautiful Mizpah mine from the road, and it's a beautiful red building, and we had the opportunity to go in there. I was with Joven, for our first little segment of investigations, and I'll share some of our experiences because I don't believe we caught it on audio at all. But we had heard, now the flooring has cement in this building, what sounded like tools or metal being dragged across the concrete. We did try to follow the sounds, and we had no luck. But there was nothing to recreate it either. We had seen a couple of little things here, little things there, maybe some shadow play. That night was extremely windy, as it was the first time that I had been there. There's also, I believe, what they call the Queen's Mine, or the Queen Bee Mine, which is up the hill. And we had some folks up there, and they enjoyed themselves. And then there was the main house, where the museum itself is. And that's where the best experience happened. We were able to set up our static cameras to to film the entire location. Towards the end of the evening, it was myself, Joven, Jason, and a guest investigator from the mining park itself. And we were sitting in one of the back rooms, just doing an EVP session. And we were getting some play with the flashlight again. They were answering on command. And we were able to possibly discern that it was a female that is there, spirit-wise, while others caught in a different part of the building that it was a male. Well, this female spirit, according to what we could find out through, just talking through the flashlight and getting responses that way, she was murdered on property, and she may have been a teacher or instructor of some sort. And according to what we could get out of the conversation we tried to have, she was there looking for revenge. She wasn't spiteful. But two of our investigators, and I would be one of those investigators, I was so overcome with this feeling of just dread and hurt and sorrow that I was almost driven to tears, and I didn't tell anyone about it. So I continued talking to her, and I felt something on my left side. So I quite simply asked, "Is that you?" And then within a few seconds, the flashlight turned on for us and quickly turned itself off when I asked it to. At that point, Joven walked into the room and stood just a few feet away from me. And at the same time, we both looked over to our left. At the same exact time, we both said to each other, "Did you see that?" And what we saw was a full body apparition. So we kind of tried to debunk it. I asked him what he saw. I didn't tell him what I saw. That way we could compare, so to see if we saw the same exact thing, when we in fact did. We went back and reviewed the video, and it's really difficult to see any kind of full body anything. But what we did see was the formation of a light that moved exactly as we said it would, like we said as we saw it, moved from left to right. And then what appears to be a shadow that moves quickly from the left to the right. It was an amazing experience. So we removed ourselves from the investigation area after things had calmed down, and we asked the people who worked there about several things that had happened. And I guess a television paranormal group had gone up and done some research up there, and they described the same exact experience we had in the Mizpah mine, where they heard tools or metal being dragged across the concrete floor. It validated the experience we had. While I was outside talking to them, we had another investigator go inside. It was Kit and Michelle went inside again. And when I walked in to do the final part and just walk through before we headed down to another mine shaft, the investigator was in tears. And she said that she had this overwhelming feeling of grief and sorrow and pain. The same feeling that I had that almost drove me to tears. So it affected us the same way. I don't claim to be a sensitive or a psychic or a medium or anything like that. But to have someone else validate that just made it a little bit better in my mind that I'm not going crazy maybe. So that was fantastic. To end our night, they drove us down to a mine shaft that, if I'm not mistaken, drops 2,000 feet straight to the ground. They have an observatory built right over top of it. And you can look straight down to the bottom, probably a little bit easier at night than during the day, during the day than at night. And it's just an amazing experience to see how hard these young men and young women worked to bring forth the bounty from the earth. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have an opportunity to get out to Tonopah, Nevada, please do so. It's not expensive, and it's not a far drive from Las Vegas. There was a single storm cloud that just stood overhead for about the first hour of our investigation. There was beautiful lightning, a little bit of wind, and the sky turned red. It was a beautiful, beautiful experience for everyone involved. The people in Tonopah, they love visitors. They're quite hospitable. And they're not afraid to share their stories and their knowledge. When you get a chance, check us out, www.pastpresentparanormal.com. Check out our Facebook page, or just friend me on Facebook at Lawrence, Lawrence, Lutz, Lutz, on Facebook as well. Get out there, check us out. I appreciate the time you give us to listen every time we put a show out there, and we'll do our best to get more shows and get more of our members involved. Also, if you have the opportunity, get out there and see The Conjuring. They're not paying me, but get out and see it. I've seen it twice already. Fantastic movie. We enjoyed every second of it. It's not exactly 100% accurate, but it can't be to make you, just to entertain you. I appreciate your time. And let's not forget our fallen police officer, Officer Van Buskirk. May you rest in peace. Once again, thanks for listening to Past Present Paranormal Radio.